The following podcast contains spoilers.
This is the Bunzarelli Show.
All right, I'm Joe. Of course, I got Bob with me. Bob, it's been a long, fun ride, but it's come to an end. We're here at the end, the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 7. Bob, how'd you feel about it?
I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed this season a lot.
Yes.
Now, we had this problem with another show. Maybe it was Mandalorian, to where the second to the last episode was so big that it was really hard for the last episode to top it. You know,
Yeah,
I was kind of after seeing Luke, I was like, I'm waiting for Han Solo to come in and Princess Leia. And it still wrapped up nicely. All the things I wanted to see wrapped up, and there's a lot of things I really liked about it. All in all, I enjoyed it a lot. Was it my favorite episode of the season? No. Was it the best one? No, I don't think so. But I did enjoy it a lot, and I enjoyed this whole season.
So Boba's at the sanctuary. Mando gets back.
Right.
I think Cobb Vanth's on his way. This is one thing about Boba that changed me, and maybe that's what I think that's what threw me off, because I thought Boba Fett was going to run his little crime family, and then it became like he's just protecting his town, which I don't disagree with. I understand that as far as his character, but what I'm curious if was his plan that in the beginning, or did it start to become that? Because I think even maybe the kids, the mods might have started to make him see some stuff, like you can't abandon us, and then even
because he just went. That's not his home planet, right? Isn't he just at that planet because he was following Han Solo, and then he just got eaten by the Sarlacc, and that's why he's there? I don't remember if they ever said that's his home.
I think his relationship with that planet, well, it's twofold. It's because it's where he spent a couple years with the Sand People, but it's also he worked for Jabba the Hutt, which you would assume would be a couple years at least. Because even I
didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because even if you go to George Lucas re-entered him into A New Hope, and then he was in Return of the Jedi, so that's at least 5 years in Tatooine. He's got a lot. He's got some history in Tatooine, besides the Sarlacc pit, and besides but even the Jabba stuff, he wants to take over family. He knows Jabba's operation inside and out. So that's his thing with Tatooine.
Gotcha.
You know what I liked was when they had those those cinematic. They were showing these shots of Mos Espa, and for some reason, from what you got from A New Hope or even the Phantom Menace, which had more technology, there was shots. I was like, wow, this city's freaking huge. It looked like New York. When they zoomed out on it, I was like, wow, this is a bustling metropolis.
Not just the metropolis part of it, but just the cinematography.
Yeah,
was beautiful. I would talk about that a lot in the last one when they went, onto whatever ship it was. We couldn't figure out. But here again, it's if you show that clip where they're on their Vespas, their Star Wars Vespas, the slow racers that we keep making fun of, when they're going through there. I mean, that shot where it pans out, if you told someone that was from a movie, they're with you. And I know they're not the first ones to have great production in a TV show. HBO does it all the time.
Yeah,
but it's still great to see, and it makes it that much better. There's some beautiful shots in that episode.
Yeah, no, the cinematography was beautiful. Like I said, they used that dome technology where they create that background. When we first saw Cad Bane, and I know him from the Clone Wars, and they didn't make that you had to know too much because you thought he was badass. At first, you had love at first sight with him. He's cool. I don't care. And really, there's nothing you need to know.
Oh my God, that's my favorite character.
Yeah, and there's nothing you need to know that you missed. But what I did like this episode was when they showed him in the dark. Because I was a little taken aback because at some point during his reveal, I knew 40 seconds before you did. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's him. Yeah. But it's okay, hey, they pulled him off. But now for some reason he's in the dark and different, and now he's moving around. I'm like, wow, they really did him good. Like Cad Bane, and now I'm just watching him act. I'm not watching it be like, hey, he's here. Like, wow, he is cool. Now, as far as his,
that's cool. That's interesting. Before I get too far away from it, it is real interesting how you said, because Cad Bane sounds like he was like the Boba Fett of whichever show it was, where he was the cool character of the cartoon.
Yeah.
And then for you to be loving that guy so much from the cartoon, and then for them to put him into something like that, most of the times in that situation, you're disappointed. You're like, oh no, they're gonna ruin this character, like they did. They did that to Deadpool, like when they put Deadpool in the
Wolverine
X-Men movie.
Yeah, the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the opposite end of the spectrum, like how they destroyed Deadpool in X-Men, or not destroyed him, but you did a terrible adaptation of him. But then I never knew him from the other things, and just from that clip of just him and the few sentences he said with that voiceover actor, give that guy a raise.
Well, and
that character's awesome.
And you know what I think I did good too was, so there was cartoon. So there was a point during the Clone Wars cartoon, where they got Daniel Logan to play a young Boba Fett, because Daniel Logan is the actor who played the kid Boba Fett, while Tamora Morrison was playing Jango Fett. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
They got him to voice a young Boba Fett who had some episodes with Cad Bane. Okay? Now, I know of these episodes. I may have glanced across a couple, but the thing that it made cool was like, I have no idea. I don't remember them. I don't know what their relationship was. But the cool thing that this episode did was just says, it was more or less like, I've known you. I know who you are. We had a relationship, and you could know nothing. And I think, like, did you feel lost during any of that? I don't think they set it up that you would have. You would just say, okay, these guys had a past.
I didn't feel lost, but I felt like I was sitting there letting them do something for fans of the cartoon, and I had to sit there and just wait for it to, you know what I mean? I felt left out.
Yeah,
like it was like, okay, give us a little bit more, or you could have given this to us last time.
No, and don't feel left out, because I don't remember. Like, I might have seen it and don't remember, but I didn't, I was like, okay, they've had a past. They've worked together or against each other. Here's something you don't know. So before the Clone Wars got canceled, when Disney bought Star Wars, Clone Wars is originally on Cartoon Network. Okay. So like Clone Wars got canceled abruptly, and then they just recently got their last season because there was a fan demand for it. So Dave Filoni went ahead and got put into Star Wars Rebels, where he brought Ahsoka back and he brought some Clone Wars stuff back in Rebels. And then all of a sudden he said Clone Wars Season 7, which was phenomenal. They lined up these characters with like the events of Episode 3. They show where Ahsoka was during Order 66. It was awesome. But there was, from before the sale, there was a showdown between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. And it was like, there's a rough animation of it floating around in the internet. But it wasn't like the way it went. It was like a shootout and Boba won, which is cool about the shootout they have later. But I don't want to jump too far ahead. But the point is because they have a past, and because the Pikes orchestrated the assault on the Sand People, and they tell Cad Bane this information. So I guess from what I gauged from was like, since Cad Bane knows Boba enough, he knows this will rattle Boba. I think he knows how to rattle Boba. And I think that was his plan. Yeah. Like, he's been in Boba's head.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure, I got that vibe.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
I'd say the whole Pikes thing with the bike gang, maybe it's because that's the thing where it's like, okay, well, we called it, you called it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like the whole thing with
other people guessed that.
The Sand People could... No, not just the guessing that, but we knew that, so it wasn't that big of a shock when it happened.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that was it. The time that he spent with I wanted more to come out of that first storyline that we were enjoying for the first 2 or maybe 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And that's really all that came of it was, oh, it was really the Pikes that killed them. Yeah, well, we all kind of figured that. Like I figured that so much after we talked about it that like I just thought that it was fact in the show already. Because the reason, even without you saying it, I would have just thought that was the deal. Because why else is he mad at these Pikes? Why is he taking it so personal with them? I'm like, it felt like he already knew it when they said it, which was funny because the guy even said that to him because you knew it was them. You knew it all along.
Yeah, and the only thing I could take from the storyline and the closure of it would be Boba beating him with the gaffy stick, because that I didn't see coming. Like you had the shootout. Cool.
I forgot about that.
And Boba losing
about that.
Because the gaffy stick appeared in Boba Fett's big fight in The Mandalorian. Like he was using that gaffy stick for the first 10 minutes before he even got the armor back.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's slugging stormtroopers, but during this whole show, you never saw it. You saw him make it. I didn't even notice it was on his back. It was on his back the whole time. And he's just like...
Oh, I have written down. Where did he pull that out of?
No, it's there. And because when I watched it again, he's got it. He's got it on him the whole time. Like Din Djarin with the Beskar spear. It's like it was there. And he just like kicks it out and just he goes freaking brutal. And because he couldn't outgun Cad Bane, but he out gaffy stick Cad Bane. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? And that's what. Yeah, and I wasn't thinking until me and you started talking today, and I'm in the same boat. I watched it a few days ago, so I'm like, you start looking back, you start forgetting some parts, and then the only parts that stick in your head are like the parts that you're a little confused on or that you didn't like.
Yeah,
I was hoping one of the Sand People was going to show up at the end. That was my disappointment with it, because I was like, okay, well, like I didn't see him counting people or mentioning like, okay, that's all of them or anything, So I thought one of them was going to show up, or it's going to turn out that one of them was a traitor. Like I thought that storyline was going to come up more. But speaking of how, but the stick thing was awesome because that was a nice throwback.
Yes, that was.
I didn't even know. One thing with this whole season that I didn't even notice was until this episode was we didn't see them doing any like Mandalorian style fighting until this one, where it was them like using their suits,
their jetpacks and all that stuff. Oh,
jetpacks. That's what it is. Yeah, that's the first time we've seen. I was like, oh yeah, they could fly. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, let's zero in on the Din Djarin. That was I think that was maybe the best.
That was great.
Part.
That was great. Oh, the fight where they're back to back.
Not even the fight. The conversation before the fight. Like there's like. I guess you're gonna get going. And he goes, "No, I'm here." Like I made it. It's the creed. It's the creed. I made you a promise. He goes, "Do you still believe in that?" Like even Boba's like, it shows like Boba still like thinks all that Mandalorian stuff is nonsense, but it's still nice to see Boba acknowledge that stuff. But he's like, "You still believe in that stuff?" And Mandalorian goes, "Yep." And he goes, "Good." But it was just, a badass conversation.
Yeah, it was a badass conversation, and it showed us something that they weren't showing us was that he does have that in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he did grow up going to that church, and those things still are within him, because we're getting through the show and we're like, why are we well, not so much through the show, but just that the beginning started like that, where we weren't sure where he was coming from. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. He came up in that same school that Mando's from. So it's good to see that and to bring us back to that.
You almost said it the best way, Bob.
Them fight together is awesome.
It's like the kid that goes to church, and the kid that like goes to church is like he grows out of it, and he's like, "Oh, you're still into that?"
Yeah, exactly.
And he says, "Hey, let's go. We'll go get your ship." And Boba's like, "I can't go. I can't run." And I'm thinking, no, go get your ship and blow everybody up. We've seen you do it. Just get the
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was thinking the whole time, just go get your ship and shoot everybody.
Yeah. You start thinking like that. And then it's like, oh, is there just a bomb? And don't you have a bomb in your sleeve that you can just bomb everybody?
No, but as soon as the Jared says, go get your ship, and he goes, I can't leave my people. I seriously, first time I saw it, I'm thinking, no, get your ship and shoot everybody. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's your Boba Fett.
Yeah, don't get it and go. Get it and come back here.
Get it and come back shooting. I'll hold them off for a few minutes. Now, when it came to those big, like, battle droid things, the Rancor because that's what I thought too. Rancor versus the ship. Rancor was the better choice because, as far as I know, the science behind Star Wars shields is they can be physically penetrated, not penetrated so much with lasers. And this is my education goes as far back as Phantom Menace, but that's my knowledge. I know Jar Jar could throw a ball through him, but that's how Star Wars shields work. Lasers,
No,
yes.
when people went through them, it seemed like it didn't seem.
It was a
like
struggle.
Yeah, it was a struggle, and it just seemed like, okay, that's how the shield is. It wasn't like, shields really should be like this, because this is something that doesn't exist anyway. So I was like, okay, they did it well to where I didn't think anything of. You're talking about Chrysanthemum walking through it. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, Chrysanthemum took a shot at it. Chrysanthemum really tried to take a shot at it. There was a couple. There was 2 specific Godfather moments in the show.
Yes.
Tell me if you know the 2. But there was 2 specific ones.
One of them has to include the conversation with the mayor.
No, well, the first one was. It was straight up at a Godfather where Mando says to Boba it was a smart move. That's what Al Pacino,
that was,
Michael Corleone says it to the lawyer. He goes, it was a smart move. And then basically at the end, the heads of the 5 families, and Fennec Shand just jumps in there and kills them all in like 1 second.
Yeah, I like that whole thing. Did we talk last time about her awkward jump down from whatever it was that she was on? Because there was another one in this episode. I said, I remember I wanted to talk about this with Joe on the last one. She had a second awkward thing. It was like people are having a conversation or in an alley or something, and then they turn and there's Fennec Shand, and she's like up on top of 2 things.
Yeah.
And then we got to wait for her to like jump down, and she like trips a little bit.
Because as awesome as an actress she is, and as cool as her character is, she is a 60-year-old woman. She's
like 60 years old?
Yeah, she's 60, and Tamora Morrison's 60. They're like,
okay, so that explains it, because I'm watching it, and the last one and this one both, I'm like, why didn't they reshoot this, or do a different take, or
put
why
the
did
helmet
they even
on?
Make her do it? Because that obviously doesn't. Exactly.
Put the helmet on, get a stunt double. Yeah, it's that easy.
Yeah, have her flip into frame and then come up and it's her, and it's like, all right, whatever. What I mean? But I'm watching her do it. Or here's a better idea: just have her walk into the shot.
Yeah.
Why don't put her on the freaking thing and make this poor old woman jump down, jump into
Fennec
view.
Shand. Hang on a second. Here's a jump.
Yeah,
hang on.
Jump. Like I could see like her ankle, rolled a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just such a it was what's it called? Like it was like a break.
No, this episode was cool.
It took me out of it for a second. I'm just talking about just the scene.
No,
the one little scene.
On this episode
in general.
No, but I'm saying this episode, yes, it was cool. The flip, I think, with the helmet. But yes, the one where she jumps down to see the Mandalorian, that was a little. They could have made 1 2-second cut and made that scene look a little better. Start at the top, put her on the floor, cut like 3 seconds out of that scene. We don't need to see every step of the jump. Boba and the Mandalorian, back to back, coming out Western style, just freaking Western style. We're little Peter Pan. But just rocket packs, just like coming in shooting, like that part was awesome. That was great.
Yes.
And I never thought we'd see that.
The use of the suit. The whole thing with Boba Fett is his suit. And it's the first time we've seen it. I don't remember him using the suit at all in any of the other fights in this. Did he? I mean, he walked out with it for a couple meetings or something. I don't remember him like with opening up the arm and a little missile shooting out of it. I don't remember seeing any of that.
His first appearance in The Mandalorian, he descends on them with the rocket pack. And then he goes, let me go get your ship. And he flies up, and then all of a sudden he's in his ship. But it was not so much just...
No, but in this season, though.
No, he hasn't used his jetpack the whole season. During the biker chase,
that's what was nice.
Yeah, the biker chase, he just lowers down at the end of it, like, I caught up with you, and that's it. But no, he used all his Boba Fett like goods, and Mandalorian has different tools than Boba does. And Boba did his cool move where he's like, he's shooting stuff out of his leg.
Yeah.
and he's shooting his arm right. And I like that the thing is they're getting gunned down, and I almost I like the bond they have, and you don't need much to understand it. Like they've had each other's backs for different reasons. Boba helped out Mando to get it because Boba had his own interest to get his armor, but being a man of honor, he probably respects what Mando was trying to do because Mando's a little lost too. They're really two sides of the same coin. They're two offshoots of Mandalorian.
Yeah, they have the same training. It's like two Marines,
Yeah.
Working a job, and they helped each other in the last season, and then they're meeting again this one. Like, okay, I can see it. I'm with it. And that was cool. That was fun to watch. So there was a lot of that in this episode where there's a lot of fun to watch going on. You know what I mean?
There was a specific part where Mando's going down and Boba runs up and tries to pick him up and is shooting. Like, it was cool. And it wasn't that was the one thing. It wasn't like, no, you haven't established a relationship between these two. It's not true. You did. You did the last season of Boba Fett, of Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These guys were riding around. Boba was driving around the whole galaxy, the last 4 episodes of Mandalorian. So it was like, no, you guys know each other. And it's just, that was cool. I liked their relationship.
I never felt that there wasn't.
No, I really liked it.
Yeah,
and I'm watching.
Yeah.
And it's funny thing is they're both wearing identical armor, but you watch them fight back to back. I've never ever thought in my head these are definitely 2 different characters. They are 2 different people.
Yeah.
They look
like every other movie. It's like what they all know the exact same form of kung fu, whereas this one they did a little separation.
Yeah. No, these are 2 distinctly different dudes, and of course, one of the things that makes Din Djarin different is the Grogu stuff that also weaves itself back into the show.
Yeah. Well, what'd you think of the Grogu storyline? I want to hear your thing first on that. In this episode, like the whole Grogu thing in this episode.
All right, so Grogu didn't do anything. As much as it looked like Grogu had his big moments, really, if you look back at it, if you thought Grogu, I don't think he stole the show, because what did he do really? The Rancor was never the big threat. The Rancor was Boba Fett's Rancor that got out of control. And, he took out one droid a little bit, but...
I thought it was dumb that Mandalorian was going up after him. I was like, well, okay, the thing's just up there destroying the building. Just leave him to it.
Oh, the Rancor itself. Yeah, just let it go.
Just let it go. Like, why bother going up there? I thought for sure it was going to kill Grogu. Did you think that at all? And I was like, are they going to kill baby Yoda? I'm like, they can't do that. There'll be riots in the streets. But I don't know, something about how they did it well, to where I thought for sure that thing was going to wake up and take a bite out of Grogu. Like, oh, okay, everything's fine. He's going to sleep. Then he wakes up and just goes, Gump.
My suspense was for some reason, I was locked on in my head that the Rancor was the Mythosaur. Like, the Rancor was going to have a bigger part than it did. I thought,
yeah.
And when it came down to Grogu, like, had Grogu got that Darksaber in his hand and was on that Rancor, I was like, all right, that's it. Now mystery solved. Like, I was kind of looking for that. That's
yeah.
And that was all me. That was like I put it in my head. The Rancor was like the Mythosaur was a acronym or something, a metaphor for the Rancor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like,
yeah. You built up a bigger.
I built up a theory. Yeah. No, because Boba Fett did, but we knew, and this isn't me being a genius, I think most of us expected Boba Fett to be riding that thing because he goes, I want to learn how to ride it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If they say, I'm going to learn how to ride it, that tells us, okay, at some point we're going to see that.
But I was going back to the armor, like legend says, the Mythosaur, and then the Darksaber starts coming out again. I'm like, ooh, are they going there? And really what it was to tie back that Grogu's back with Mando. The interesting dynamic that's going to change with Grogu and Din Djarin is, Grogu's like, hey, kid, hide here. Keep him safe. Keep him safe. And Grogu twice stepped up to the plate. Takes out a Grogu.
Yeah.
When Grogu went up against the Rancor, I didn't see the Mandalorian freaking out. He was just watching because he kind of gets the Force too. So he wasn't like being a helicopter parent. It was like, okay, I know what he's going to do.
And that's a bigger ending. And that's a big ending I forgot. I'm sorry. That's a big ending that I forgot was in there. Yeah. Because I'm just thinking like, okay, I forgot that, Mandalorian's going to be, he's got another season coming. So Grogu being back isn't just, okay, so Grogu went back with him and now we'll never see them again.
Yeah.
Now that means that's a big opening for the next season because now it's Mando and Grogu. Yeah, otherwise it would have just been Mando. And after seeing Mando and Grogu for a whole season, I could see that, you got to keep them. You can't get rid of them.
Well, you and me did a revisit at the end of Mandalorian when things changed because our last assumption was Grogu was out of the picture. And now Grogu's back. But you and me were saying, it was like, well, how long can he do this protecting Grogu thing? So instead of removing Grogu, you make Grogu less defenseless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
Maybe he grows up a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
Starts looking different.
No, look, he was a sneeze away from what Yoda was doing. Yoda was jumping around, and Yoda was just had mastery of the Force. If you take Yoda from New Hope, Yoda in the first trilogy had no lightsaber. Yoda was just lifting X-Wings out of the swamp. It was just like wisdom and power. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, that really opens up enough. Yeah, that really opens up a lot for the next. It's so funny. I completely forgot there's another Mandalorian. Another Mandalorian coming up. Next is Han Solo show's next.
No.
Which one's next?
Obi-Wan's next.
Oh yeah, Obi-Wan. Sorry, I got them mixed up. That's what I was thinking of.
That might drop Super Bowl, Bob. We might be back to.
Oh yeah,
we might need to slip a show in between the two we sandbagged. I was meaning to tell you that. I was like, ooh, it might drop Super Bowl.
Yeah, every time there's a movie, there's a battle, and then the party that I'm not sure if they're not going to come help us. They can't because they're doing this instead.
Yeah.
And then they do show up. They always show up late.
Yeah.
The battle. And at first I'm like, well, why is that? And then I'm thinking about it, like, I would show up late. Like if I knew like if there's a fight and I got to go to it, I'm like, I'm not going to show up early to the fight. Like, hey, let me make sure I'm here for all of it.
Let me see if you start winning and losing
as late as possible. And I could be like, oh, throw two punches and then the fight's over, everyone's done. Like, oh, I helped.
Either they won it by the time I get there, or they're losing it on the big hero. Either way, I look good.
Yeah. Either way, it's good. But
either way, it works.
Up. I thought Grogu leaving Luke, and it's funny that I didn't catch these things. Like, another stupid thing I didn't catch was they did the whole thing where when Mando got the new X-Fighter or X-Wing, whatever the plane is, and they're like, oh, well, here's the R2D2 spot. Like, what are you going to put in there? It never dawned on me, like, oh, that'll be Grogu's spot. And
I'm
sure that came to everybody's mind afterwards. It never crossed my mind.
Well, I saw posts on Twitter that were like, if I don't see Grogu in this, I'm gonna riot. And I'm thinking like, well, yeah, she hollowed it out, but did she know to depressurize it and put oxygen in there? Like, she just said I made it so the droid can't go in there. So I'm like, I wasn't expecting him in there. You know what I'm saying? But I guess he is. Yeah. But
that was funny. That was cool seeing him in there.
Oh, that little last minute
was going to be such. Yeah, that last. But I thought him leaving. I want to get back to it before we get too far away from it.
Yeah.
I thought him leaving Luke was going to be a big negative thing that we were going to see in this episode. It's not that I'm glad it was or it wasn't. Or no, I am glad that it wasn't. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it wasn't. But I thought that was going to have such a negative thing. But Luke actually left Yoda to go help the rebels in one of the first movies, right? When Yoda was training him, he left and then he came back. So that's why I think that's why Luke let Grogu go. That's not the last episode, not this one. But I was thinking about it afterwards. I'm like, oh wait, this sounds familiar. Luke left and did something for a while.
I got a good conversation about that. So once again, quote my resources, Rebel Force Radio, because we did our show, they did their show about that episode. Okay, so they said, why is Luke talking about attachment? I thought Luke would have grown during that. Like, isn't Luke past that by now? And these are serious Star Wars nerds. Like, they can dissect Anakin's mask. Like, I got nothing on him. But they're saying things like, why is Luke here? And I'm thinking, no. When Luke said you'll be giving into attachment, I don't think Luke was even buying into it. I think Luke was selling the choice. Luke says, because I don't think it was about Luke thinking Grogu was not devoted to the Jedi way. He straight up said it to Ahsoka. It's like, yeah, he's good, but he's half-assing it. His heart's somewhere else. He doesn't want to do this. You gotta step away from the rules and look at the simpler story. I think it was growth of Luke. I thought it was Luke saying because Luke was saying to Ahsoka, what do I do with him? I like that doubt. That's the cool part. That's this part I'm Luke Skywalker. You guys think I'm awesome, but I'm not. I'm better than my dad because I'm not doubting myself and killing a bunch of younglings, but I'm still questioning myself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
I liked how that was done real well. And I could see when he gave him the shirt thing too. Like it had that feeling like he thought about it and he wasn't sure which way to go. Yeah. And after everything that he went through and more his dad went through, it's like, maybe we need to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah. Because that Jedi rule thing, maybe if Anakin didn't keep his marriage a secret, and maybe if Anakin would have talked to Obi-Wan about Padme, things would have went down a little different.
Yes.
If Anakin would have told, because guess what? Guess who Anakin's going to talk to is Palpatine, because he can't trust anybody. There's mistakes. Jedi aren't perfect. So for Luke so the whole question was, well, Luke's saying this thing about Jedi attachment. Luke should know the Jedi isn't perfect. So I don't believe he was worried about Grogu's attachment. I think he said to Grogu, it was just his way of saying, you got to make a choice. You're not into this. I don't feel like you want to do this. I think you're skilled, and I'm going to teach you, and I gave you something to defend yourself, but I don't feel like you want to do this. So I'm not going to make you do this half-assed. I think it's as simple as that.
Was there? I forget. Was there any sort of come back when you're ready? Specifically?
No. He asked him the question. He asked him the question, and the next episode, R2 dropped him off. And the interesting part is Ahsoka. All Ahsoka knows is Ahsoka left the Jedi Order, and she got back with them, and she knows Anakin became Vader. So she's seen her teacher fall, and she saw Luke. So she didn't want to train Grogu. She just said to Luke, "It's up to you," and just kind of, and she let. Luke was looking for help, and she's like, well, I'll tell you this, I'll tell you that. I don't think she wants to coddle Luke either. I don't think she wants that responsibility. That's how I feel. So little said in so little time. Because I know from the history of Anakin and Ahsoka, it's I knew your father, I know it went down and everything, and just Luke saying, she says to Luke, I knew your father, and he says, well, I see you again. So you just assume they've caught up from that little bit said.
Yeah.
That
actress does her so good.
Oh, Rosario Dawson, yeah.
To know the character. Yeah, she does that character so good.
Yeah.
She's good. You know what else she's in? She's in Marvel stuff. She's in the shows.
Yeah, Daredevil. And
the other one, Punisher.
Yep.
She was in those shows, and it's funny. She's got to be loaded. She's doing Disney. She's doing Star Wars movies, and she's doing I would say Avengers, but it's not Avengers. Marvel movies.
Oh, and she's getting her own show. There's an Ahsoka show, and Dave Filoni is going to be Dave Filoni directed one episode of this. He did the Clone Wars. He did a couple episodes of Mandalorian. Dave Filoni is executive producer of the Ahsoka show. That's the character he created with George Lucas. So he's just he directed and produced. Here's Dave Filoni, Bob. Dave Filoni is the last episode, the one with Luke and Ahsoka and stuff. And Dave Filoni was the Ahsoka episode of The Mandalorian, where she first appears.
Yeah.
That's Dave
I tell you,
Filoni.
these shows versus movies.
Yeah.
Well, not these shows, but not saying the fact that they're doing these as shows versus movies now, I think works so much better. Works so much better because instead of just seeing something every few years, or for me and you, it was like we waited 20 years between them, or 10 years, whatever it was. Instead of waiting so long, and then there's so much pressure on it, because they want to do all these big things. Like, all right, let's see Anakin grow up. Let's see this guy do this. It's like, it's nice to just like, it's week to week. Like every time the show starts, and I'm doing a show about it with you, or we'll call it whatever it's called.
Yeah.
We're talking about it all the time, and and even just week to week, this episode started up, and I knew I was looking forward to it, but I wasn't thinking like specifics. And then like Chrysanthemum shows up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I got this going on.
I'm so glad we didn't lose
like how they're
Chrysanthemum.
doing it. You get to see it so much. Yeah.
I thought we were going to lose him.
Awesome.
I thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
There was 2 episodes where he's limping. I'm like, no, please keep him. Don't lose him. He's cool as like Chewbacca Punisher.
And now we want to see more of him. Now we want to see more of him because it was just that he was cool, and I was like, okay, he's on Boba's side just because he needed work and Boba, spared him or whatever. But now it's like, oh, now they got, he went and saved him, like Boba Fett running out there and grabbing him. Like there's no humans running out to grab this huge monster to try to help him. They're all like, oh, I'm sure that has not happened for him often. And even the Lost Boys or whatever the kid gang is with their
mods.
Their Vespas. Yeah, the mods. I was even caring about them at the end,
It's
I
cool.
hope we see this crew in the Mando show.
That's what I'm thinking. So if this is a one-time deal, if this was like, because Boba Fett needed his own show, he deserves that as a heritage Star Wars character. Like, let's explore his past and where he is now. We need that. He deserves that much time, and we bought into it. We've had the conversations. Sarlacc pit. He said it. We didn't have that time during Mando. Whether to do a season 2 of them is up to them. But the cool thing is if we go into Mando again or Ahsoka again or whatever other Disney shows they do, they pop back and show, on Tatooine, Boba Fett's there, and all of a sudden you see the mods and you see Chrysanthemum. So it's like this little pocket of cool characters.
Yeah.
They're right here.
Yeah, it could be both.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know whatever they named it. I'm hoping that the next season there is a next Mando 2, right? Or 3.
Oh, there's definitely another Mando. There's definitely.
Okay. So there's another Mando coming, and Boba Fett. You just built all these things. Maybe you could have it be called Mando 2, but it still just be half going back and forth between those 2 storylines. Just like Boba had 2 storylines going, you could have a Boba Fett storyline in Mando.
Oh yeah,
the whole time.
And Peli Motto's on Tatooine, the comedian that fixes his ship. I forget the actor's name. You know who I'm talking about though. The
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a funny scene with her.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, baby's got to eat."
Yeah, and then racing into the battle, and she pulling up with the droids and everything. That was funny.
But you, like I said, Tatooine's a big deal. So you go back there, and these things happen. I got a theory I want to throw at you because Obi-Wan's around the corner. So my whole thing was it's kind of knowledge out there that Hayden Christensen's supposed to be in this Obi-Wan show. Okay? That
right.
Darth Vader will appear in this Obi-Wan show. The whole idea is Obi-Wan's got to leave the planet because Darth Vader is not coming to Tatooine. It's not happening. He can't come to Tatooine with Obi-Wan protecting his son. Okay? I have a theory in my head, and maybe if
how are they doing an Obi-Wan? What's the timeline that the Obi-Wan shows?
It's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So he's on Tatooine watching over Luke.
I'm sorry, which one's Revenge of the Sith? Revenge of the Sith is one of the
It's where Anakin
prequels.
becomes Darth Vader. Yes, it's the last prequel. It's where he chops.
Okay, so it's between the prequels and the 70s.
Yes,
movies,
it's the
whatever
gap.
they are. Okay.
It's the gap of
So
Obi-Wan
like 3.5.
time. Yeah, it's his
Okay.
time.
So it's a prequel to Mando, is what I'm getting at. Like,
Oh
we're not gonna
yeah,
see Mando in this show.
way before Mando, but
Okay.
way before Mando. But what makes Obi-Wan leave Tatooine? Because he's supposed to have this rematch with Vader. It's not happening on Tatooine. There's no way Vader steps on Tatooine and doesn't sense Luke, whether he knows who Luke is or not. There's no way. So, what drags Obi-Wan off the planet? Could it be that Obi-Wan, and it's a side story, Obi-Wan goes and rescues Grogu? So
Yeah, because Grogu's 50. As soon as you said when it took place, I'm like, okay, Grogu's 50.
yeah,
So
they show Grogu
the time
at
works
basically the part where the clones are storming the temple.
that's what ties the shows together.
It's
That's how
episode
you tie
3.
them together.
Yes. So the time, because even the bad guys get Grogu, the Empire gets Grogu, and the Emperor's like, just keep him aside. I have more use for him, or whatever. And they have him in a prison. And then maybe Obi-Wan's meditating, and Qui-Gon tells him, oh, you have to go get this guy. Or maybe he goes out for some other reason, because he finds out Anakin's alive. Because he left assuming he killed Anakin. He chopped his legs off in front of a volcano. He had no reason to believe he was still alive. But he'll hear the name Darth Vader that he knew Anakin was calling himself. And that's going to make Obi-Wan leave. Yes, we all know there's going to be a rematch, that these guys are going to come together. It's not happening on Tatooine, which is kind of cool because we just spent the last show on Tatooine. So let's get out of there. Yeah.
And then we're going to find out who those characters were in Grogu's flashback. Because that flashback was put there, and I was like, oh, this feels like something that
I think Grogu
is going to be a bigger deal. It's going to turn out Obi-Wan's in that shot, and we just didn't notice him.
No, I think
something like that.
I think Grogu gets imprisoned. I think Obi-Wan actually leaves Tatooine either to go after Anakin and say like, oh, I thought I killed him. I have to go finish the job, or
finish it.
A ghost of Qui-Gon or Yoda goes, you have to go get Grogu, get him out of there, whatever it is. I think Grogu's going to be, it's not going to be the central part of Obi-Wan's story, but I think it's going to answer the question. That's what I believe.
Oh man, I'm excited for Obi-Wan, because you can Obi-Wan. Now hold on, because this show is like episode 4, 5, 6.5, right? So it's like episode 6.5.
Yeah, this is after Return of the Jedi.
In 4, so this is everybody in 4, 5, and 6 is old or dead, so they can only do so much. Now you do a 3.5. And now it's all the actors from 1, 2, and 3. You got what's his name? Liam Neeson? Is it Liam Neeson?
Well, Qui-Gon died, so this is after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, but you could do Ghost.
Yes, you could do Ghost Qui-Gon easily. That's what I'm hoping for. I want Ghost Qui-Gon. You could do Ghost communications with Yoda. What I'm hoping for is, like I told you this before, we saw like the Hutt twins. So show us Jabba. You know what I mean? Show us Jabba in his prime. And some of the things that make Jabba seem cooler in Return of the Jedi. Kind of like the twins did. Like right now, after watching this, the one thing about this Boba Fett show is you kind of think Jabba the Hutt's cooler than he was. You know what I mean? Things embellish and dig into things. So show us Jabba now. And now
we could do a whole show on what could possibly be going on in Obi-Wan.
Well,
I haven't even thought about that.
This Obi-Wan trailer might launch Sunday, Bob, so it might be happening very soon.
Yeah, it might be happening soon.
Yeah, because that's right. You know what happened? They launched right after the last episode. They put out this movie poster, like Star Wars announcement of Obi-Wan. And I'm like, oh, man. And I got the release date and everything. And I'm like, okay. Told you release date. And I'm like, wait a minute. And they're like, Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm like, wait a minute. They're like, it's I'm going to say if I was a weather reporter, I will say 75% chance of Obi-Wan during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I will say high. I will say high just because of the timing. 2 months away from the release of the show, 75% of Obi-Wan. So we sandbag some stuff, but some stuff might get bumped because there might be an on-the-fly Obi-Wan trailer show. I feel it happening.
Yeah.
And I also feel like as excited, but you get excited about all the Star Wars stuff they're putting, but this Obi-Wan thing, you hear it's coming, but it's like, no, it's Ewan McGregor. You're taking a heritage, because you go back and forth about Obi-Wan. Like, I accept Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan, and I accept Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure. That character they did perfect.
Like I'm saying, they are both Obi-Wan. So you're basically bringing back Obi-Wan Kenobi. So as much as they went back to Mandalorian, bring him back. And Boba Fett's here, coolest bounty hunter. This is effing Obi-Wan by the same actor. They're not trying to reinvent anything or explain anything or show anything. It's like, no, let's just zip into Obi-Wan, 10 years, he's right in the middle of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. The last prequel movie and the first original trilogy movie. Let's catch him at a sweet spot. It's going to be really good. I think it's going to be bigger than I've been thinking about. You want to talk about the end credit scene, Cobb Vanth?
Oh yeah, I was curious your thoughts on what that's going to mean for next season. Vanth being in the tank, it showed us, okay, he's alive.
Yes.
But now because we see the other guys, okay, he's going to get modded. So is this leading up? Because that's the whole thing with the end credit scene is you think, okay, this is going to be something for the next show, which is why I was thinking it was going to be like Han Solo or Obi-Wan, because they're the next, or Obi-Wan's the next show coming up. I thought it was going to be like, okay, we'll see that. Do you think he's going to be a big part of whichever show is next? Is that what it was leading to?
What I like was because you and me, when we talked about the first episode and you were kind of lost what was going on, I was like, well, why did they make this integral part of the Boba Fett show the end credit scene for the last show? This is different. Yeah. This is different because all this is telling us is Cobb Vanth lived. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like if you start Mando and Cobb Vanth lived and he has a robot arm, and you'd be like, oh, hooray. If you, for some reason, you're not going to miss anything integral to the story. Because I could not believe, Cobb Vanth was a big surprise from last episode. I told you last episode, I gave up on him. So
yeah,
our whole thing is and the cool thing is they showed was even though he lost Boba Fett's armor, he still has the heart. So it's
he still has heart. He still has a character to where and we only seen him for 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, and he's Mando. So well developed.
So we only seen him for 2 or 3 episodes, but he's real well developed.
Yeah.
But it was enough to where okay, they left a little storyline dangling, and like you said, you were hoping for it for a while and then gave up on it.
Yeah.
And now seeing him at the end there, after the confusion of who it was, because it was hard to recognize him without his hair being, out and flowing like it does. But seeing him, it's okay, that, what does that mean? We know we're going to see him again, but is he going to come back? Is he going to be some kind of cool robot thing? Did he get shot up that bad?
He's definitely but he's definitely getting some enhancements. I think he's going to get a little bit of a makeup for what he lost from Boba Fett. And it's cause even when Cad Bane goes, you never should have took his armor. And I was thinking Boba Fett saying, well, technically it's my armor. I just, took it back. I didn't even take it from him. I took it from the Mandalorian. But it was it's kind of cool to see him level up a little bit and still be in the game. And I don't know what the plan is for this Boba Fett show. I still think it was necessary to explore Boba Fett right now and put him in a spot in this universe. But I liked it in his pocket. Okay, that's the big setup that Cobb Vanth is still a player. Because I like that
player, and he could be the whether it's Mando or Boba or whoever, there has to be more people, and that makes the show for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you, whichever one it is, because now if you have him and Mando hanging out and talking, or even just him, hell, I'd watch a show just him. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
that, oh, he's the greatest in the world, but he's up there with them, and as the actor and the character
Yeah.
is just as good.
Well,
So
even if
I'm
Ahsoka,
curious where they're going with it.
if Ahsoka has to go to Tatooine for something and you see Cobb Vanth, hooray, it's Cobb Vanth. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
they're building their little side characters, and the whole thing about Star Wars was like a lot of these side characters, people develop stories out of them just because they were so into Star Wars. So people decided stuff about Boba Fett before anything was even said. Like even George Lucas didn't understand the Boba Fett thing. Like it was like, we made this costume and everybody flipped out. And all people started writing stuff and thinking stuff about this guy. Like the most mysterious character.
I can tell you exactly why it was. It's because the toy was the coolest toy.
Yes.
Because it was the coolest looking one.
Yeah.
I bet that's why, because I know that's why I did, and probably you did. He was our favorite guy, and I didn't even know who he was. I was just like, oh, he's the cool green guy from Star Wars.
And they made Cad Bane say the stuff the audience was thinking. It was like, you've gone soft. Like, I don't understand what your angle is. Like, he's just basically saying what we're saying. What's your angle here? Okay, so
you took over the spot as Godfather, and then you're not getting a.
And maybe his original intent was to be Jabba, but then like maybe I even think like of his scenes. I think if you rewatch it, it's going to have more value because you think about how he went into the sanctuary the first time, and they fill his helmet with treasure. And then he goes into Sanctuary the second time. He watched Chrysanthemum like rip some dude's arms off. He does a little nod at the lady running the thing like, hey, it was worth a shot. Like I think he just started getting attached to it, to Mos Espa and stuff. And I think
they wrapped up his thing, his arc.
Yeah.
Very well.
Well, because even Darth Vader was so mysterious. And then you learned about Anakin Skywalker. And even now, like 30 years later, even like the movie Anakin Skywalker doesn't take anything away from Darth Vader. I never thought it did. You know what I mean? It's just,
no, I never did.
You're embellishing on the mystery. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But you want to put a cork in this one, and we'll talk about it if we want to do the other thing.
But I don't know if I'm forgetting it or not. Do we know if there's I mean, you said there's definitely a Mando coming, but like, do we know the order? Like it'll be Mando season 3, right? So let's see.
There's Mando season 3 coming.
Obi-Wan and then Mando 3.
I don't know where Ahsoka fits into the puzzle. Ahsoka's coming, which is why Dave Filoni only directed one episode of this, because Dave Filoni's like, Ahsoka is his baby. Like he made Ahsoka. Ahsoka's gonna be. You know what the big key to Ahsoka is? I think we're actually going to see a lot of Luke and Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka is where we're going to see, like Dave Filoni's going to take the hard part of the job, like do the heavy lifting. Dave Filoni will be the one to, like, he'll make CGI Luke a main character in that show. He's gonna.
I wonder how the technology's gotten, like, because like there's a lot of money in research and development to bring him back. I wonder if now that they did, it's not so much to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? It cost $1 million to figure out how to make Luke work. Maybe it only cost $250,000. I'm just making up random numbers, but maybe it only cost this much to maintain this Luke character, because you know what I mean? It's like you made a video game character. It cost a fortune to make this character, but now he's made. Now you could use them. You know what I mean? Like I said, you could keep using them for cheap. It isn't like the big expensive thing.
No, Mark Hamill's involved right now, but if Mark Hamill stepped out, it would still work. There's the same stand-in actor, and his voice is completely digital because they fed in like thousands of hours of Mark Hamill vocals from Star Wars and other stuff. His voice is completely
Yeah.
digital. Like they just type
And
in
he's
the
a,
lines.
he's a professional. He's a professional. Oh wow! I was gonna say I thought you meant him doing it because he's a professional voice actor now. So
No,
we know he could do great just
No.
with voice, but I guess they don't need him.
that voice is coming out of computer. The actor is a dude with a blue hood on his face for digital. Mark Hamill's involvement right now is I'm going to tell you
Producer,
how
just, like credit.
like actor coach. It's like, here's how
Yeah.
I would act the scene out. Now you do it like me. For the authenticity, like this is how the actor that played Luke Skywalker would act this scene out. So you stand an
Yeah.
actor, act like me. But still, all that being fun and dandy, if Mark's done or, you know, you don't need Mark to do it. That's the truth of it. You know what I mean? So, oh, but the point being is, so you know who Sebastian Stan is? He's the actor that
Is he
plays
the-
the Winter Soldier from
Yes,
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It was.
So there's always been like this. There's been this thing.
Oh
on the
yeah, he
internet.
looks just like him.
He looks just
Yeah,
like
I've seen
Luke,
it,
and we all thought
yeah,
it was going to
he does.
happen. Like, yeah, I'm good. It's they could have done it, but they're doing it this way, and it's like, I don't know what the better answer is. You know what I'm saying? Or do you
Yeah.
get Sebastian Stan to be the body double? I don't know, but whatever it is, like,
And
I
I
like-
would accept either. I would be fine. Like if Sebastian shows up and is like, okay, this is Luke now. It's like a different actor playing the same character.
uh-huh.
It's okay, yeah. Even though this only takes place a day after he was this guy, it's still fine. It's still a great actor. It's still a great character. Why not have someone else play him? Luke is so much older now, anyway, and it isn't even Luke playing him. Like
yeah.
having a different actor play him is or having a CGI. It sounds better than a CGI thing, you know. If it was between Luke or him, I'd pick Luke. But if it's between CGI and him, either one.
When they first brought him back into Mandalorian, and because he wasn't as good CGI'd as he is now, so he looked
Yeah,
a little
now it's
off.
amazing.
Yeah, but he looked a little off. So I'm looking at it like, is that my thought in my head was, is that CGI or is that Sebastian Stan? That's what I was looking for. Because I thought everybody was crying Sebastian Stan. They might just go and do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I feel. But the cool thing is, it's like Mark Hamill's got to know. He's like, okay, well, I want to do it. I have passion about this character, so I'm gonna do it as long as I can. And then when it gets to the point where they're doing it without me, I'll be okay with that. But he doesn't need to do it. He's not hurt for money, so he's doing it because he's getting his chance to be the cool Luke Skywalker that he wanted to be. Like,
Right.
I think it's a labor of love for Mark right now. You know, he's not. You know what I'm saying? He's like, okay, if he watched Carrie Fisher die, so he's like, okay, if I drop dead one day, they're going to do this without me. You know what I'm saying? Not to be morbid about it, but it's a truth he knows in his head. So it's like, let me carry this torch as long as I can before I pass it. You know?
Right.
But it's a cool
I'm
thing.
about good on this on
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Boba.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap up Boba. Yeah, so like I said, Bob, it's been a fun ride, dude, and I was so glad I was able to do this with you, and we'll see you guys.